Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Erica, and today we're going to do my December wrap-up. Okay, so in the month of December, I had an amazing reading month. I only had one kind of dud, and I'm very excited to share them all with you. I tried to sneak in a couple things to make my reading number 110. My goal was like 60 something, or 60. So I didn't need to do that, but I was at like 107, so I wanted to hit 110. So I snuck in some random short things. Let's jump in. So actually in November, I filmed my wrap up a couple days early. So these two books I actually read in November, but I didn't include them in my November wrap up. So that is Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is a reread for me. I read this a couple years ago and I wanted to reread it because I wanted to continue on with the series. I didn't necessarily love it the first time I read it. I gave it 3 stars. I just thought it was average. The second time I appreciated it a little bit more, and I grew to like Lily and Lo a little bit more. It's still not my favorite romance book I've ever read. I don't think it's anything like that amazing. I did bump it up to 4 stars. But yeah, I enjoyed the reread and I have been continuing on with the series and I've been having a good time. So that is Addicted to You. Then I read Ricochet in November, which is just like a little novella. And I like this one too. I gave it 4 stars. In this one we see a lot of the side characters, which I really like Daisy and Rose and Connor and Reg. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. We also see Lo isn't in this book, so we just see Lily, and it was nice to see her struggle and kind of have to be, it wasn't nice to see her struggle, but like it was nice to see her struggle without having to depend on Lo and kind of seeing her work through that. So that's Ricochet. Then I read Addicted for Now in December. It was my first book I read in December. I don't own a copy of that yet, but I enjoyed this one too, and I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a nice continuation. It was nice to see Lily and Lo back together and working through their crap. So yeah, I'm enjoying this series a lot. I'm excited now that I'm on Kiss the Sky to get into Rose and Connor and Daisy and Ray, because Lily and Lo, I think everyone can agree that they're not the favorite couple in the series. So yeah, I'm excited to keep going. I don't know if I said it, but Addicted for Now was also 4 stars for me. Next, I read Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I actually filmed a vlog that's up on my channel. It was called The Trope Taste Test, where I read 3 books in a trope that I don't think that I will like. So I did divorced couples, 2 lovers, and so this is one of the books I read in that, and I kind of gushed about it in there, so I'll keep this brief. But I love that book. It's 5 stars for me for sure. It was really nice to see a mature romance with mature characters. Also, it's a pretty emotional book. Check your triggers. But Kennedy Ryan is an amazing author. And yeah, I definitely really, really loved this book and so glad that I read it. Next, I read Belladonna by Adeline Grace. This is a paranormal YA romance with a little bit of mystery in it, and I love the way that those genres blend together in here. This was a 5-star book for me. It almost made it into my top 10 of the year, but it didn't, so it'd probably really be like my 11th top favorite of the year. But yeah, I really, really loved this. This follows Signa, and it takes place like in the Regency era, and Signa can see ghosts, and she also cannot die, and she has a relationship with death himself, like personified, and it turns into a romance. And like I said, there's a mystery element in here. The ending of this book surprised me like 3 different times, and yeah, I just really loved this one. And the writing was really beautiful too. I'm excited to read the sequel, which is called Foxglove, and yeah, so that is Belladonna. Next we have Binding 13, which this is freaking 5 stars. It is so good. I'm so happy I finally read this book. This follows Shannon, who is bullied at her school a lot. She also has a terrible home life. And she's been through so much. She ends up going to a new school called Tommen, And on her first day there, she's walking across the field and gets hit in the head with a rugby ball by our hero, Johnny. And Johnny feels really bad about this, and Shannon thinks she's getting bullied again, and her mom thinks she's getting bullied again, but Johnny did not mean to do it, and he feels really bad. So he ends up kind of like taking her to the nurse's office and taking care of her for that little bit that she's in there. And then after that, he just feels this bond to her and this connection to her. But he doesn't want to, because rugby is his whole life, and he doesn't want to let a girl get in the way of that and distract him. Johnny also has his own things that he is dealing with, and yeah, it's just very sweet. These characters are in high school, so it's not super spicy or anything like that, but the romance is just so sweet. The story is really moving. Like I said, it's deals with a lot of trauma and stuff that Shannon goes through, so it's a very heavy book. Check triggers before you go in. It's sad, it's heartbreaking, but it's also like sweet and romantic, and I just loved it so much. The ending leaves off on a cliffhanger. There's no HEA in this book, and it's a pretty wild cliffhanger, so I immediately jumped into Keeping 13. It's just the second book. These books are huge, by the way, like huge, and the font is tiny, so they're an investment of your time, but I was obsessed and I couldn't stop reading them, and I read them in a couple days. So Keeping 13 starts off right where we left off, and it follows the events of what happened at the end of the last book, and you just get more of Shannon and Johnny. I also forgot to mention there's some really amazing side characters in these. For example, Gibbsy and Shannon's brother Joey. I am obsessed with Joey, and I can't wait for his book, which is the next one that's releasing, I think, like in March. Yeah, I love Joey the Hurler. He's like my fave, and I can't wait for his book. Oh, I still have my tabs in here. Yeah, so obsessed with this book. Love the whole thing. I think Chloe Walsh is going to be one of my new favorite authors. I can't wait for the rest of the books that she's going to be releasing in the series. And you do get an HEA for Shannon and Johnny in this book. And the series is like really special to me, and I love it. Next, we have a book that I really want to read before the new year, because it's a 5-star prediction. It was a 5-star prediction for me, and I have been meaning to read it all year. And that is Ivy by Willa Nash. So this book was not a 5-star for me, unfortunately, but it was a 4-star book for me, so I'm happy with that. I really loved this book. It follows 3 different characters that are all roommates, and they're in college, and it definitely has Pretty Little Liar vibes and kind of Gossip Girl. It's just very different. It follows, like I said, the 3 different girls and their 3 different romances. Because there's 3 different romances, well, this book is really long, but because there's 3, I didn't feel like they were super fleshed out, any of them, but it was still, like, I was reading it for more than just a romance. Like, the whole story itself was entertaining, and there's like secrets that were coming out, and I just thought it was really good and really unique from what I've seen from Devney Perry in the past. And if I want her to write more stuff like this, because I just felt like she did such a good job with this, and I'm pretty sure this is my new Willa Nash Devney Perry favorite. So yeah, I really loved it. Like I said, it just wasn't a 5-star because I didn't feel like any of the relationships were super fleshed out, because there was 3 in here. But yeah, definitely loved it. I think I read it in like 24 hours. I couldn't stop reading it. The secrets and stuff coming out shocked me, and it was just a really, really solid read. Next is a reread I did. This is one of the books that I just wanted to sneak in really fast. And one of my goals was to reread this series in 2023. So I just got a jump start on it. And that is Every Heart a Doorway by Shawnee McGuire. This is a portal fantasy book. They're all really short, like 150, 200 pages. Just like 8 books out or something like that. But I love this series. It's so fun. It's a nice mix up from romance, because there isn't romance in here really. But yeah, this one kind of has a mystery element to it, and I was just so happy to reread it. It took me like an hour and a half, and it was fun. So I'm glad that I jumped in. This was a 4-star book the first time I read it, and I gave it 4 stars the second time. The 4th book is my favorite in the series, and I can't wait to get to that one. If you want something that's just short, fun, fantasy, it's not a romance at all. It kind of is like an adult Narnia. Check these out. So next we have my dud of the video, and that is City of Lost Souls by Cassandra Clare. So this is a 5th book in the Mortal Instruments series. I've been working my way through the series, and I don't know. I feel like I'm just kind of sick of Clary and Jace's drama, and I find myself rolling my eyes at them a lot. I feel like I would enjoy this much more if it just had Simon and his life in it and Magnus Bane, because those are the only 2 characters I really care about at this point. I feel like the plot was somewhat interesting, but it kind of got drowned out by things that I didn't really care about. For example, Maya and Jordan. Like, I don't really care about them. And there's like, I don't know what it is with Cassandra Clare, but her and her incest thing that she's got going on, I don't really understand why that's so prevalent in her books and used as plot devices, but it gives me the ick every single time. So yeah, I don't know about this one. I am going to read the last one because it's the last one and then I'm done with the series, but I kind of wish that the series just remained the original 3 and that the last 3 were never written, because I didn't like Fallen Angels all that much and I don't like Lost Souls all that much. So hopefully the last one's better. Cassandra Clare, from what I've heard, writes really good finales. City of Glass is really good, so I'm hopeful. But yeah, this is just a 2-star book for me. I'm just over it at this point. Next were some books that I was going to read in January, but I wanted to sneak in 2 more books, and I had them on audio and I listened on like 3.5 speed, so these were able to be read in like 3 hours. That is Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead. This is actually a reread for me. I read it for the first time in like 2011 and never continued on with the series despite loving it. So I literally remember nothing though, except for that there was like dead animals in this book. So it was like completely new to me pretty much, and I had such a fun time with this. This was written in 2007 and it's still just so much fun. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. It was a great experience. I loved it. I'm glad that I didn't really remember much of what happened. I did remember like what happened at the very, very end and the dead animal things, but yeah, it was fun. I can't wait for the live shows that will be happening with this read along at the end of the month. Yeah, I'm super excited that I started this. It was a book that I wanted to get to in like October and never did. So I'm happy that I read it before the year was over. And then I followed that up with Frostbite, and Frostbite was so fun too. I gave this one 4 stars though. I didn't love it quite as much as Vampire Academy, but it was still a really, really solid read. We've got ourselves in a little bit of a love triangle going on, and yeah, I'm just really enjoying this series, and I think this is a solid 2nd book in the series, and I can't wait to continue with the rest of it. So that is everything that I read in December. Let me know what your favorite book of the month was. Mine would probably be Binding and Keeping 13 for sure. So that's all for me. I'll see you in the next one.